In this video, I'm going to show you how to change the oil on this Toyota Tacoma with a 2.4 liter engine. Let's get started. Underneath the vehicle, you'll see your 14mm drain plug, which is on the oil pan here. So use a socket or a wrench and break it free. Once broken free, it should come off easily. However, keep pressure on it as you unthread it so that when it's on the last thread, you can control when the oil will start draining by pulling it away quickly. Otherwise, it'll splash all over your hand. This is down to a slow drip, so I'm going to call this done. Put the drain plug back in. There we go. Make sure it doesn't cross thread. Bottom it out by hand if you can. And the torque for this is 27 foot-pounds. There we go. Wipe down any excess oil that dripped. You may or may not need an oil filter wrench for this. I'm using the strap style, but you could use the cup style, or maybe you don't even need one at all. Break the oil filter free. This is next to the oil pan on the passenger side. This is most likely going to have some oil. Yep, there we go. That's going to drain. Let this drain into your collection bucket. Remove it. With a clean rag, wipe off the oil filter housing to ensure that, one, no gasket from the oil filter stayed on here. You do not want to double gasket that, but also you want to check its condition, make sure everything is still good. I don't see anything wrong here. Everything is nice and clean, so we can install the new oil filter. I like to pre-fill the oil filter on this engine because it sits upright, so I'm able to do so. Fill it with 5W30 oil, that's what this engine takes. And you don't have to go all the way, but give it about 1/4 of a quart in here, and then take some clean leftover oil, lubricate the O-ring, this gasket here. This will ensure that it doesn't stick to the oil filter housing. There we go. Now with the new oil filter ready to go in, thread this onto the oil filter housing. As it threads on, make sure it goes on smoothly. It should kind of just continue spinning as you spin it. If it's difficult to thread on, that means it's cross-threading. Once it bottoms out, you want to give it about 1/2 to 3/4 of a turn. Just by hand, no oil filter wrench. That got nice and snug there. It squished that rubber gasket a little bit, so we're good to go. Now from the top, the oil filler cap is going to be at the front of the engine. Remove it and add 6 quarts of 5W30. I'm going to start with the quart that I already opened earlier. All right, last quart is in. There we go. I have a little homemade funnel here. Remove that. With that off, you'll be able to put the oil filler cap back on. And now, as always, even though I know I put the right amount in, I like to check the level. We're going to do that with the dipstick. Make sure the vehicle is on a flat, level surface. Pull the dipstick out and wipe it off as you remove it. The reading on the first pull of the dipstick is not going to be accurate. Dip it back in all the way and then pull it back out. Now if you look at the dipstick close enough, on one side it'll have all these cross hatches here with an L and an F. L stands for low, F for full. You want to be pretty much at the full line here. I know I'm just slightly above, but that's because the engine hasn't been ran since I put oil in it. So if you run the engine for 5-10 seconds and shut it off, let it sit and then check it again, it should be pretty much spot on to the full mark. Once we're sure the right amount of oil is in, put the dipstick back in, and there you have it.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.